Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. The Glazers could be forced to sell Manchester United, but for only £4 billion. Now, the Manchester United-Liverpool game got postponed on Sunday because our fans protested against the Glazers. Hundreds of our fans went inside Old Trafford and invaded the pitch. A police officer got his face slashed. Obviously, there was climbing on goals, some of the fans, there was throwing flares, there was smashing up equipment. I reckon they did take it too far. Now, the other week, they were protesting against the Glazers at Carrington. Some of our fans blocked entrances into the Carrington training ground to protest. And obviously there was holding banners, saying MUFC 20, 51%, Glazers out, we decide when you play. Obviously you can understand the fans' frustration. But it recently said that the Glazers have no intentions of selling the club, so they are here to stay. Solskjaer did say not so long ago that the Glazer family will not sell Manchester United. And before that, he told protesters that Joe Glazer loves the club. And the Red Knights have told the Glazers to sell Manchester United. The Glazers apologised the other week over the European Super League plans. Joe Glazer released a statement and apologised. I reckon the game against Liverpool is going to be probably played on the 15th or the 16th of May. The Glazers have obviously put the club in debt. The Glazers bought Manchester United for 500 million back in 2005, so they have been at the club now for 16 years. But if we get the Glazers out, I think it will be the right decision by Manchester United, because I hate the way the football club has been run for a long time. We need to recommend new owners in. Obviously, you know the news regarding Ed Woodward. It got announced the other week that Ed Woodward resigned as Manchester United vice chairman. He will stand down at the end of the year. Woodward has had a 16-year association with Manchester United. I presume all United fans were delighted with the news regarding Ed Woodward, because we've been very critical of him for a long time. Not so long ago, Ed Woodward's house got attacked by masked protesters. Apparently, Woodward will get to choose Manchester United's next chief executive. It said the other week that there could be 5 candidates that Man United could look at, and it actually said that Edwin van der Sar is the favourite to replace Ed Woodward. If we recommended Edwin van der Sar in, I think it would be the right decision by the club, because Edwin van der Sar knows the club well. And plus, Edwin van der Sar has got that experience. He's currently the CEO at Ajax at the moment. You've got to credit him for the work he has done at Ajax. Now, Woodward did say earlier on this season he believes that Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. And he did release a statement regarding Solskjaer and the players. He said the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. And Woodward did say towards the end of last year that he will back Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. And Woodward's come out to show his support for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer several times, even when he was enduring them really, really bad periods. Now, obviously, the news on the transfers. There's a lot of players that Manchester United are looking at. Now, yesterday I give you some more news regarding Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund have set their asking price for Jadon Sancho. They will accept around £78 million. Borussia Dortmund recently confirmed that they have a gentleman's agreement with Jadon Sancho over a possible transfer. Now, we actually are confident that we can get Jadon Sancho on the cheap. We've talked with his representatives over a potential move. Earlier on this season, Borussia Dortmund admitted that they'll sell Jadon Sancho for the right price this summer. The Borussia Dortmund CEO did reveal that the club will discuss exceptional offers for Sancho. Earlier on this season, it said that we was preparing to put a bid in of £50 million. Before that, it said we paused our transfer pursuit of Jadon Sancho due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. Now, last summer, Jadon Sancho was our number one priority target. And Sancho to Man United last summer was extremely close because it said the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and even a contract had been agreed. But the main explanation we didn't get him is because we was reluctant to meet Borussia Dortmund's 108 million valuation. We was only willing to pay so much up front. So the actual fee was the stumbling block. Dortmund made it clear to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. And Fabrizio Romano, who is a very reliable Italian journalist and close to Man United, he's spoken a lot about the Sancho saga, and so too has Bill's Christian Falk. Jadon Sancho's made 133 appearances for Dortmund and he scored 46 goals. This has been his fourth season at Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City and he's under contract with Dortmund until 2023. But I'd certainly take Sancho at Man United because he dramatically improves us. And he's still young, he's got a lot of development in him, and I'm kind of sure he will exceed expectations in the Premier League and he'll fit in our team well. It's recently said we've been looking at Kingsley Coman as an alternative to Sancho. I think £78 million is a reasonable fee for Sancho, but £108 million is far too much. That's why we didn't pay it last summer. I recently gave you the news, didn't I, on Pau Torres from Villarreal. It says that Man United are very, very interested in signing Pau Torres. Man United have been in advanced talks to sign Torres, and we're aiming to complete the signing of Pau Torres before the European Championship begins. Pau Torres' release clause is £43.4 million. Villarreal want Man United to meet his release clause. His release clause rises up to just over £56 million in the final 15 days of the summer transfer window. Now, earlier on this season, it said that Pau Torres wanted to come to Manchester United. And the Real Madrid president Florentino Perez was infuriated with Man United for entering the race because at one point Real Madrid were emerged as the favourites to get him. But would you take Pau Torres at Manchester United? Do you think he'd complement Harry Maguire in our back line? You know, Pau Torres has been at Villarreal a long time now. You know, came up there, you set up. He's been in their senior squad a while. He's got a contract with Villarreal until 2024. Don't forget, he did have a loan spell with Malaga. He hasn't only been the centre-half on our agenda. There's been a lot of centre-halves on our agenda. I recently give you the news on Jules Koundé from Sevilla. He said Real Madrid have recently entered the race for Koundé, and Man United and Chelsea are also interested. Says Sevilla will accept around £52 million. His release clause is around £78 million. It said earlier on this season that Sevilla were demanding £68 million for Jules Koundé. He said earlier on this season that we was prepared to pay £61 million for him. And it said at one point we were emerged as the favourites to get Koundé. I'd certainly take him at Manchester United because his performances for Sevilla this season have been outstanding. They really, really have. And he's been at Sevilla almost 2 years. He's got a contract with them till 2024. Sevilla paid just £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. He'd go very well alongside Maguire in our back line. He said quite a few weeks ago now that Solskjaer drawn up a 6-man centre-back shortlist, but you know what, we may not even get a centre-half now, because not so long ago, Eric Bailly signed a new contract with the club until 2024. There's also an option of a further year. Got quite a lot of centre-halves as it stands in our team. You obviously know the news as well regarding Declan Rice from West Ham. Darren Fletcher revealed not so long ago that Declan Rice asked about Man United whilst he was on international duty with England. Declan Rice has already asked Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw about life at Old Trafford. And it came out the other month saying that Declan Rice is interested in joining Man United, but West Ham are demanding £100 million. £100 million is far too much for Declan Rice. I reckon he's worth from between 50 to 60 million, maybe 70 million at a push. But he said earlier on this season that we was exploring a swap deal involving Declan Rice and Jesse Lingard. Obviously, Jesse Lingard wants a permanent move away from Man United. I think West Ham will end up getting him permanently because since he's gone out on loan to West Ham, he's made a fantastic impact. The main explanations I'd take Declan Rice at Manchester United is because one, he's predominantly a holding midfielder and Man United are in search for a holding midfielder. And he can be deployed as a centre-half. Two, he's still young and he's got a lot of development in him. And three, he's well proven in the Premier League. He's been at West Ham for 7 years now. He's under contract with them until 2024. Said earlier on this season that Solskjaer agreed with our recruitment team that Declan Rice would be the perfect signing for the club. But in the summer transfer window, I'm expecting Man United to spend a substantial amount. And I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings. I've already identified the areas in the squad where we need to strengthen up. The summer transfer window will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. Solskjaer did warn earlier on this season that we may not do business as usual due to the pandemic, but he said he's interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is aware of how big the summer transfer window is going to be for himself and Manchester United in general. Solskjaer wants good backing in the summer transfer window, and you know what? I'm expecting him to get the backing he deserves, because we've got John Murtaugh, he's our director of football, and like I've said so many times, it was the right decision by the club getting a director of football in. We got Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director, and we've obviously got Matt Judge as well. Matt Judge has been part of the club for a long time. I can assure Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window, and he will be Man United manager next season. Because it's already been made clear he will not be sacked even if we fail to win the Europa League. But I've already said that Solskjaer does deserve at least another season at Manchester United, because he has made progress in a lot of aspects. This has been Solskjaer's second full season at Man United, and he's been Man United manager now for over 2 years. Solskjaer knows how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. You know, he's not yet won a trophy. You know, we haven't won a trophy since 2017. But you know what? I think there's a very, very good chance that we're going to win the Europa League. We're basically now into the final. It's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first major final, because obviously we beat Roma 6-2 in the Europa League semi-final first leg. Solskjaer did say the other month though that winning trophies can be an ego thing. We'll probably finish second in the Premier League, which is good. Solskjaer did say earlier on this season that we'll never ever give up on the Premier League title, and obviously we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, which is 8 years ago now. But obviously Solskjaer has been criticised a lot as Manchester United manager. And obviously there's been a lot of United fans demanding him out. Obviously they've got main explanations why they've been demanding him out, but I still presume there's a lot of United fans that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in, and they believe that he needs more time at the club. Like I've said on my recent videos, he isn't the long-term manager for Man United, but you know what? I hope I'm proven wrong. He's the best manager since Ferguson, and reflecting now on Solskjaer's been with us, he has gained some managerial experience in that. But as you all know, I do have my concerns about him. My two biggest concerns about Ole is that he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, but that doesn't mean, you know, he can't succeed as Man United manager. And his decision making also concerns me, because in a lot of his games at Man United, he has been tactically naive. In some games he showed tactical flexibility, but he's got to show that persistently. Said earlier on this season that Solskjaer agreed a new 3-year contract with the club worth 30 million. Said it's likely to be 2 years with an option of an extra one. Solskjaer's just got under a year left on his current 3-year contract. But there's a lot of positives regarding Solskjaer. You know, we are second in the Premier League. Got a very good away record in the Premier League. We are unbeaten in our last 24 Premier League away games. So we haven't lost away from home for over a year in the league. We've been far better away from home than we have been at home. You know, we've enjoyed good periods under Ollie where we've seen consistency. And we're enjoying a good period at the moment. We are unbeaten in our last 7 games in all competitions. You know, Solskjaer's got us to the Europa League final, more or less. You know, this season got us to the FA Cup quarter-final, got us to the EFL Cup semi-final. You know, last season, in his first full season, guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League and got us a 3rd place finish. I like the way he's promoted the youth. He's beaten quite a few big-name managers. You know, he's made good signings as Man United manager. Solskjaer has spent almost £300 million Also got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he's come in. So, yeah, they are the positives regarding Solskjaer. And Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. Got to credit Solskjaer as well, because when he got appointed in as Man United manager, he assured everybody would get their chances to express themselves, including the young players. And more or less everybody's been given their chances. Solskjaer got appointed in as Man United manager in December 2018. And he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. He did well, didn't he, as the interim manager? So that's why the club decided to give him the job permanently 2 years ago. Solskjaer has to do well next season, because if he doesn't exceed expectations next season, I think there's a good chance he will be sacked. The main explanation is still Manchester United manager is because he's a club legend. I think that's what's basically saved him, Disregarding being a club legend, I can almost assure he would not have been Manchester United manager now. Don't forget, Ole is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. We sacked 3 managers since Ferguson, despite us not being known as a sacking football club. We sacked David Moyes after 10 months. We finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies. If you want to put the Community Shield into the equation, and got a 2nd place, which I think was in his 1st season. So you can say Mourinho enjoyed one good season at Man United. In the last 8 years, we have been playing catch-up. We haven't only had different managers with different philosophies. We've overpaid for players. The board's been one of the biggest problems at the club for a long time. I've already given you the reasons why. We've spent over £1 billion on players in the last 8 years, and we've brought around, 37 players in since Ferguson retired. And mistakes have been made in the last 8 years, and that's why I haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. I'm expecting players to leave Man United in the summer transfer window. I think there's a good chance that we'll offload David De Gea in order to keep Paul Pogba, like I mentioned yesterday. A lot of United fans reckon it would be a mistake getting rid of David De Gea in the summer transfer window. I don't think it would be. I reckon now De Gea has had his years at Manchester United. He's been at the club now, 10 years, so he's been a long servant. I reckon De Gea has had 8 good years out of the 10 years he's been at Man United, because in the last couple of years, he's been liability, reflecting on the mistakes he has made. A few years ago, De Gea was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. He's won everything domestically at the football club. He's made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions, and he was our number 1 for a very long time. I reckon Dean Henson's now our number 1, so De Gea is now our 2nd choice goalkeeper. De Gea has 2 years left on his current contract, and he's on £375,000 a week. Now, earlier on this season, Solskjaer did warn that David De Gea's number 1 spot was under threat, didn't he? So I knew then, he was going to make Dean Henson his number 1 when he said that. He said earlier on this season that De Gea had made his transfer decision. He said he's preparing to leave Man United, and he said we're set to pay off his huge contract. He said we'd set the price, it's £50 million, and quite a few clubs are interested. I said there's a very good chance that De Gea will go back to Spain. Sergio Romero, I'm expecting us to offload him, because he's our 3rd or 4th choice goalkeeper now. Romero's been at the club since 2015. We got him on a free from Sampdoria, don't forget. Romero, most of his appearances have come in the Cup, haven't they? Phil Jones, I'm also expecting us to offload him as well. He's always been inconsistent and, doesn't get an R11, and he's been out of injury for over a year now, and this is Phil Jones' 10th season at Man United, so he's been a long servant. He's the only outfield player that's still here from the Ferguson era. Alex Tellez, a good chance we're going to offload him. It said earlier on this season that Tellez had decided to leave Man United. Calcio Mercato said that Juventus are interested, and Juventus are willing to offer Adrian Rabiot in exchange for Alex Tellez. Alex Tellez has played nowhere near as much as I expected. Most of his appearances have come from the bench. When he has played. But, yeah, he started some games as Alex Tellez, but when we got him last summer, I expected him to be our first choice left back immediately, but it didn't happen. We got Tellez in a deal worth 15.4 million from Porto. Axel Tuanzebe, I think we should offload him. I'd probably loan Tuanzebe out, because he's still young, he's got a lot of development in him, but he needs to go somewhere where he's going to get opportunities. He isn't getting enough opportunities at Man United. He doesn't even get in R11, Axel Tuanzebe. The best game I recall him having for us is the game against PSG. Diego Dalot, I'm expecting us to offload him permanently. He's out on loan with AC Milan at the moment. Nemanja Matic, I'm also expecting us to offload him because he's not one of our first choice midfielders, but he still gets his chances. And I've always had my strong reservations about him because he's always been a slow player, and plus he's aging up now. We shouldn't have given him that new 3-year contract before the start of this season. Matic has been at the club since 2017. We got him for £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Juan Mata, I'm expecting us to offload him. I think his current contract expires next month. There is an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Juan Mata hardly plays now. Don't forget, the first part of this season he rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. I reckon he's had a good career though at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years. He's made over 200 appearances for us in all competitions, and he's scored 50 goals. Something like that. We got Juan Mata in a deal worth 40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. We brought him in under the David Moyes era. And a lot of United fans are saying that we need to offload Anthony Martial. And Brandon Williams, I think we should loan him out because he's what our third choice left back and doesn't even get in the team now. Williams played a lot of games last season. That's only because Shaw had a couple of periods out with injury. But there's obviously a lot of players that will stay at Man United in the summer transfer window, and I reckon there's quite a few players that have got long-term futures at the club. You already know the news regarding Edinson Cavani. It said not so long ago that Edinson Cavani is close to agreeing a 1-year contract extension with Man United. He said he's decided to stay at Man United in the summer, and he said it's expected to be official sometime this week. Solskjaer did say not so long ago he was doing all he can to convince Edinson Cavani to stay at the club. So yeah, it looks like Cavani's staying for next season. I'm delighted, and I presume a lot of United fans are delighted because he has made a fantastic impact since he's come in. All he said not so long ago though, his future is not 100% being decided. And you obviously know the news as well regarding Paul Pogba. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants him to stay. It says Man United will demand 80 million for Pogba this summer. Apparently Man United are willing to offer Paul Pogba a new £400,000 a week contract, but he's demanding £500,000 a week. He says we will sell Paul Pogba if he does not sign a new contract. Pogba's current contract expires next year because earlier on this season we triggered that 1 year extension on his contract. So anyway guys, later on today your Roma Man United preview will be coming up. Obviously we play Roma on Thursday night in the Europa League semi-finals second leg. And starting 11 prediction will be also coming up as well. I'll be doing a few more videos today. So anyway guys, that's everything to update with today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.